All right, happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Hat Creek Interior Studios. We're glad you're with us tonight. Hey, and if you love Western style furniture, you love Hat Creek Interiors, hatcreek.us, the website. Showroom in Lubbock, 10101 South Slide Road. Drop by, tell Corey Flanagan we said hey. So it's Friday. It's, kind of a in between Super Bowl and everything else Friday, and maybe some of you guys are just now really getting into college basketball a little bit. Wonder what's going on. We got stuff going on tonight. We always have something fun. So glad you're here with us this evening. Can Texas Tech men's basketball avoid the UCF trap? It's a sandwich game. What do we mean by that? It's sandwich. It's in between two things. It's the meat in between the bread. The bread was Houston. The bread's Kansas. Now you got UCF tomorrow, 11 o'clock our time, noon out there. Trap game, Tech favored by 3.5. I think that's a very good value opportunity for Tech. You can own any pro team. Which pro team would you own and why? And then your favorite play or singular moment in Super Bowl history. For Cowboy fans, for Chiefs fans, for you name it, New England fans, I guess there's still some out here. If you can distill down the Super Bowl to a moment, a memory, a play, what would it be? I'll give you mine, you give us yours. And every Friday, you tell us the most Texan thing you have done. Let's get it going tonight on the daily broadcast. 3, 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. Start your day every day with us. We give you all the questions of the day, what we're thinking in the morning, and then what's coming up tonight. And, of course, the Raiderland Hot Links brought to you by Jackson Brothers Meat Locker, Post, Texas, USA. Hugely famous beef jerky. Get it ordered this weekend for your Super Bowl party. They'll ship to you, or you go down there to Post and pick it up yourself. Also brought to you tonight by the Reserve, a culinary tavern, Lubbock, 103rd and Quaker, 103rd and Quaker in Lubbock, Texas. Brunch tomorrow, brunch Sunday, brunch and basketball, brunch in Texas Tech tomorrow. Hit the Reserve. Tell them we said hey. And South Plains College, the road to Raiderland runs through Level End. South Plains College, huge institution for decades and decades and decades out here in West Texas. Congratulations to South Plains College, a new spring enrollment record. 10,260 students out there in Levelland. Here is to you, South Plains College. SPC is here for you. All right, let's get in tonight. Get the comments rolling on the United Supermarkets, Market Street chat line, the supermarket that supports Texas Tech, puts their names on things, versus the other supermarket that does not do that. Where are we thinking tonight? Confident? Texas Tech basketball. I feel pretty good about where the Red Raiders are. I would be worried about this game if Texas Tech had not had the open date following the Houston game. But that gave you time to come down from the emotional high of that game, settle down, work out a little bit, get in the cold tub, get in the hot tub, relax, get ready and go. Okay, we got a 2-game slate coming up. You get your mind right for this time of year. You get your mind right as a basketball player, as a team, and you go, all right, we're going to go out there to UCF, play them, 3.5-point favorites, come back for big money in Kansas. You approach it as a 2-game stretch that way. And these players now are more and more used to that. Back in the day when Big Monday was kind of a rare thing or anything else, but now they're a little bit more used to doing this. I think it's the fans that sit there and go, man, this could be bad, man. You'd be looking ahead to Kansas. I don't think Tech's going to be looking ahead. I don't think so. I think one of the biggest things we got going into tomorrow, I want to see if Luke Bamboye plays. You got Josiah Mosley out there for the first time against Houston. Immediate dividends. Can you get 10 minutes out of Bamboye? We're waiting. I have not seen an injury report today. And we may not know until later on tonight. Follow Nathan there at the AJ, David Collier. But if you've got Bamboye tomorrow, I think 3.5 is I think Tech can win by more than 3.5. But are you worried about that, concerned about that going into this game? Texas Tech firmly on the 3-4 line, seed line right now. We invite you to go to hoopshd.com and bracketville.wordpress.com. The only two sites we pay attention to in Raiderland, Dave Almond's site at Bracketville. I think Dave's bracket today had Tech as a 3 seed, and they keep ending up in the East. And even on hoopshd.com, they've been back and forth 3 seed, 4 seed, and they keep ending up in the East with Duke. Now, here's part of the problem for Texas Tech in the Big 12 right now. 2 teams ahead of you, Arizona, who Texas Tech will play, obviously, in February, and then Houston that's still just slightly ahead of you on that 3 line. You'd love to get the 3 seed from Houston in Oklahoma City and go to that one, as opposed to, I think, being in the East as a 4 seed or a 3 seed even in the Duke region. Why? We already beat Duke, right? No, I don't want to see those people again. And I think you'd much rather be, and this is where we start getting in that time of year where we go, okay, you would much rather be where your fans can get there, and that's Oklahoma City. But they're going to protect Arizona, so you're not going to get in there. And this is the challenge for seeding with the NCAA tournament this year for the Big 12. You're going to have 5-6 teams in that easily within the top 5 seed lines. And you're going to have several teams in the top 3. And we go from there. I said hola. We can say hola. I can say hi. All right, there we go. Now, you guys jump in on the United Supermarket chat line. Your thoughts on that? We give you this on a Friday night. You can own any professional sports team. Which team would you own and why? Which team would you take over? You could own anyone. The Seattle Seahawks, according to reports today, so Paul Allen, one of the Microsoft co-founders, he passed away in 2018. Part of his settlement, or not so will, that you had to sell the team at a certain point, and by the way, all the money goes to charity. Just that type of deal. So you can buy the Seahawks if you got about $6 or $7 billion. You can go get yourself a professional team. Which team would you buy and why? Now, I know a lot of people would be immediately going like big teams, but what if you just bought like a minor league team? What if you bought like a minor league baseball team and said, you know what? I know we're affiliated with the Texas Rangers. We're going full Savannah Bananas. We're going crazy. And I'm just going to be nuts. I'm going to be, Bill Veck, crazy owner. We're going to go crazy on this. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Like to buy a pro hockey team and move it back to Lubbock and have the Cotton Kings Part 2. So I give you the ability to own any professional team. Which one would it be and why? And then Super Bowl hype. We have to do this. I don't want to. I'm embarrassed. But the FCC mandates that if we want to maintain our license and be able to broadcast the daily broadcast here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios every day, we have to engage in Super Bowl hype freely and openly in front of God and everybody. We have to ask you Super Bowl related questions. Your favorite play in Super Bowl history? I've got mine. What's yours? Jeff, not a trap. In Grant we trust. Talking about Texas Tech at UCF. I've gone from using trap game to sandwich game. I like that a lot more because to me it's more descriptive of it's a game in between two things, like a sandwich. Trap game has become so overused that it's meaningless to me. That it's that sandwich game. It's that game in between where your mind can wander just a little bit, and particularly this time of year, where the next 2 weeks, to me, are the toughest 2 weeks of the basketball season in college. You're tired, you're beat up, you feel like you've been playing forever, and you don't see the finish line yet. And then when you get on the backside of February, after Valentine's Day, and you get into that, 17th, 18th day of February, then you can see March. But this is a horrible time. Yo yourself. Michael getting in on Facebook, by the way. Ryan Heights Raiderland on Facebook free. I just ate a sandwich for dinner. It was glorious. What you did there, I see. What was in the middle? Don, my favorite Super Bowl moment was Elway Copter. He wanted that game against Favre. Well, he wanted that game against everybody after, getting his butt handed to him in the Super Bowl in the 80s multiple times, and then finally getting back with Terrell Davis in the running game. Now, as a Packers fan of the 1990s, that would be one of my least favorite moments. Hated that moment. But it was a well-earned, well-deserved win by Denver. So here's to Brett Favre. This one's for John. Actually, that was the next year. Wasn't it the next year? Or was it that year that Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Broncos, standing there with the Lombardi trophy? This one's for John. I think that was against Atlanta. You know what I remember most about that Super Bowl? Other than that night breaking a bathroom mirror? Don't ask. It's a long story. And it really wasn't like 7 years of bad luck. It was more like 4. Hold on. No, like 2. Like 2 years of bad luck. And I'm going to throw this out there, Don. That Super Bowl, Packers, Broncos, the thing I remember most actually happened right after the game ended. I want to see if anybody can remember what I'm talking about. Either you know or you don't. Ryan, favorite Super Bowl memory as a Broncos, Broncos fans, run helicopter. Just stop it. Nobody cares. Meats and cheeses on the sandwich for Don. Were they fine meats and cheeses? Did you get them from Jackson Brothers Meat Locker in Post, Texas? If you didn't, you should. Chris, that Broncos win was the first AFC win I remember watching. Yeah, because you had to go back a few years, probably, what was it, Oakland or LA? I can't remember where they were when the Raiders beat the Redskins. Then you had Bears, you had Redskins, Bears, Giants, yeah, Cowboys, Redskins, Cowboys, Niners, Packers. Yeah, it's a little bit of a ways. Jeff, favorite Super Bowl moment? Prince playing Purple Rain in the Rain. Bears Colts. What was that, 08? Yeah, LA in 84. The Raiders. Marcus Allen with a run up the middle against these are my runner-ups, by the way. Some of my favorite plays from the 80s. I've got Allen in that run up the middle against the Redskins. And then I've got Riggins in the 4th down run against the Dolphins and Marino. Michael on Facebook, the finest. Usingers, Milwaukee. Super Bowl 18. Come on now. If the Super Bowl didn't exist, how do we know how to use Roman numerals? Now it's getting a little awkward on the Roman numerals. I think they kind of need, anyways. Ryan, David Tyree, miracle catch, helmet to head. Patriots undefeated season over. Great moment. Existential moment, one might say. All right, your favorite plays, your favorite moments in Super Bowl history. You tell us. Texas Tech basketball thoughts, comments, everything else. If you get Bamboye back tomorrow, get Bamboye back. Bamboye back. Bamboye, I want my Bamboye back. Anyhow, you get him in the post. Give me 10 minutes. If he can play 10 minutes a game, Toppin will score more than 4 points over his current average the rest of the way. And then the other question of the night, here on a Friday night, and I know it's the dead of January. It's the weekend before the Super Bowl. I'm just glad you guys are hanging out with us. I know we'll have a lot of people on the replay and everything else. That's cool. But I want you guys to just hammer away on the comments, hammer away on the United Supermarket chat line. You can own your own sports team, your own pro team. Who would you own and why? The Seattle Seahawks are going to be up for bid soon. Which team would you own? Why would you want to own the said team? And as I said, it doesn't have to be like the most famous team in the world. You can buy any pro team, minor league or otherwise. That might even be more fun, right? That might actually be even more fun, like owning a minor league team. But you got so much money that you don't care. You can do anything you want to. Which team would you own and why? I'll give you my, what is it, 644. I'll give you my favorite Super Bowl play. And it comes from my youth, and that's okay. You can come from your youth or your old age. What's your favorite Super Bowl player moment? Hey, maybe it's Max McGee catching the pass over the middle. That her boy Dowler gets injured. Max McGee, Super Bowl one. Donnie Anderson playing the Super Bowl one. E.J. Holland playing in Super Bowl one. That's right. Double Red Raiders first Super Bowl. Texas Tech been a part of it forever. Jeff, I'm excited to see more Mosley tomorrow. As am I. Grant McCaslin talked about after the game last week against Houston. He'd only practiced 2 times with the team before the game. I mean, he'd been around the team, but like full on participant in practice and like learning how to catch passes from your team. 2. Holy crap, he's had at least 2. He should be doubly good. That's 12 points right there on 4 3-pointers. No, in all seriousness, Mosley is another guy that can open up things on the wing, give you some minutes. I don't know, 10, 12, 14. But I do love the fact that he can open up things on the perimeter when he's out there. And another, who do you, Atwell? You know, well, we got to go him. Now we got Mosley over here. You get the idea. Chris, looking forward to the Oklahoma City Seahawks. Can't wait for them to move. Now we got to keep Seattle in Seattle, but they got to go back to the old uniforms. And what was the deal? Okay, home team or how they do the uniforms in the NFL Super Bowl. I think they do a coin flip. New England won. 16 of the last 21 Super Bowl winners wore white. New England is wearing white. God help us, whatever Seattle may come out in. They could come out dressed like highlight pins. We don't know what they're going to wear. If they would come out in the 1978 Seattle Seahawks uniforms, that would be glorious. And they should. They should. All right? They won't, but they should. Don Ginson on Facebook. Hey, we ask you to do a couple of things here on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, grow us. We need to get over 700 on our YouTube channel. So if you're on one of the other platforms, Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media, or Facebook, and you're not subscribed there, it's free. It's easy to do that. And share it and get it out there. We want over 700 because we want to get to 1,000. To get to 1,000, we got to go, over 700. It's just math. But Don on Facebook, we do a lot of cool stuff on Facebook. Coming up later on tonight, your daily dose of West Texas. I'm going to take you down memory lane and ask for your memories on that. If I could own any pro team, it'd have to be the Colorado Rockies, just to live there again and enjoy the beautiful field. Of course, it'd be ideal if they finally became good again. I would be right there as a minority investor in the Rockies with you, Don. I think that is one of the most beautiful settings, one of the most beautiful stadiums. The stadium itself is okay. All right. An early mid-90s stadium that they could have done some different things, but whatever. But the view from home plate, first base side of the sun going down, you can't beat it, man. It's too cool. One of the first places I ever had a blue moon, and it'd be cool. Like I said, we're there. Now, I ain't going to live in Denver. Got to say Denver, not Denver, Denver. I ain't going to live in Denver. I'd live in the Red River. I'd drive up occasionally. Robert, we'll do disco night again. Disco Demolition Night, Chicago White Sox. Death to Disco. In between a doubleheader, they had all the fans bring out their disco albums, and they blew them up in the outfield at Comiskey Park, and mayhem ensued, as you can imagine. It turned into a riot, and they couldn't play the second game of the doubleheader on Disco Demolition Night. Way to go, Bill Veck. Awesome. Jeff, I would own the Red Sox and spend the money to actually make them competitive. Also get to spend 81 games in Fenway every season. Is that a good thing, or is that like a punishment? It's Baston. I truly don't know if that's a good thing or not. You can own any pro team, which one and why. Will Texas Tech basketball avoid the UCF trap? Sandwich game, spot, 3.5 point favorites. I like it. The metrics on these teams are really interesting to look at. If I did a blind XY AB comparison on that, you'd be seeing a pace that's really similar. You'd see some offense and defensive numbers that are really similar. But then when you start looking at the actual basketball teams and what they do against who they do it against, you see the separation with Texas Tech versus UCF. To be a road favorite at 3.5, if we're going to say the average home team is going to get anywhere between a point, point and a half, or whatever, so that's about 4.5. I think maybe that number today that we saw at 3.5 also reflects it's a quick turnaround with Kansas coming up and maybe just a little trepidation on that. I understand the people that don't like the lay points on the road. I really feel like this game ought to be lined at about 5.5 to 6.5. That I would take Texas Tech laying 5.5 to 6, no problem. 6.5 gets a little whatever. But I feel ridiculously comfortable with this game, particularly with, again, Mosley, the addition of that. The day off this week, I think, helps tremendously going to Florida. That you don't have that quick midweek change. And am I worried about this team, looking ahead to Kansas? I don't think so. I don't get that feeling with Grant McCasland. We'll see. We'll see as we go through. Jeff, first one to 75 tomorrow wins. That's the pace they play at, both teams. That you could easily say that this is a game that's going to be played. You need to score about low mid 70s to be in the conversation on that. Yeah, I could see this being like a 79-70, 79-72 type game, or even like an 84-75. I think you could get into the 80s. We'll know real quick, and this is one of those things where if you guys are into the sports wagering markets, this is where in-game wagering comes into play. What's the total? 160.5. Okay, that's the number of points scored by both teams. You don't get there if they're going to foul everybody out, if they slow the pace down officiating. If they're getting up and down the court, if you see the officials letting them up and down the court and JT Toppin's going to stay out there and Anderson's going to stay out there, that's when I lean a little bit more towards the over. Chris is on Facebook. It's Ryan Heights Raiderland on Facebook. Houston Texans, then I would pay whatever it takes to the Titans to get the Oilers' name back. I'm in. Minority owner, Chris. I would help you do that. 100%. That's where if we had a strong commissioner in the NFL, which we don't, because who hires the commissioner? The owners. But it would behoove the owners at every opportunity to do exactly what transpired when Art Modell moved the Browns and took the Browns out of Cleveland and went to Baltimore. In a perfect world, when Baltimore left for Indianapolis, they would have left the Colts behind and become the Indianapolis Pistons or something. But you get what I'm saying. There's a domino effect. But when Modell did it right, he left Cleveland with Cleveland. Now, of course, Bud Adams and the Adams family, they wanted to stick it to Houston. So it was a middle finger to Houston to not allow them to have, the Oilers or any of that stuff and maintain it and then kill it. Although they were the Tennessee Oilers or whatever for 1 year. And wore it, in 96, 97, running through there? Gosh, what year was that? 97, 98? Yeah, it's strictly a middle finger by Adams to the city of Houston for not giving him what he wanted with a new facility, with a different thing from the Dome. And the other owners let him do it, let him get away with it because they might want to do it themselves. Tech will have to help the Knights. Tech will have to help the Knights, and I don't see that happening. I don't know what that means, Timbo. Tech will have to help the Knights. What does Patton family have to do with this? Oh, crap. I'm 4 minutes past when I said I was going to talk about my favorite play in Super Bowl history. All right. So, my favorite play in Super Bowl history. It's one of the things we're talking about tonight. Your favorite play, your favorite moment, everything else. By the way, the power of five. If five of you people happen to like and enjoy what we do, I ask you pleasantly tonight, go to our sponsors on Facebook and tell them thanks. United Supermarket, The Reserve Culinary Tavern in Lubbock, South Plains College, and Hat Creek Interiors in Lubbock. And just say, hey, thanks for supporting Ryan Knight's Raiderland. We appreciate it. And tag me and let me know on that. Super Bowl 12, not much of a game, really. Not much of a game. Doomsday 2 dominating the Denver Broncos line, crushing former Dallas Cowboy quarterback Craig Morton all afternoon long there in the Superdome. But my favorite play, when I think of the Super Bowl, I think of Robert Newhouse on the halfback pass to Golden Richards from 45 yards out, and Golden Richards making the diving, rolling catch, and then throwing his hands up in the air. And if it happened today, if that play happened today, it would be really weird because it's a Friday and we're not playing a game. But if it happened in an NFL game today, we would watch replays for 10 freaking minutes. Did the catch survive the ground? Did he, the whole thing. But in 1978, it was the coolest, greatest play ever. And to me, when I think back on Super Bowls and everything, my favorite moment, my favorite thing growing up kid, we would try to replicate that as kids. We would try to do we called it spectacular catches. We had our own game. We played spectacular catches, real football, Nerf football, if that's all we had at the time. And you could only use one hand. You had to dive. You had to do all sorts of stuff. Great game. It was the football equivalent of playing 500 in baseball. Any of y'all ever play 500 in baseball? Probably not. I understand. So yeah, when I think over the Super Bowl, like my favorite plays, just watching it, that's number one for me. You, it could be if you're of a much younger age, the Dallas Cowboys of the '90s. Take your pick in those. Leon Lett, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. So, what was yours? Your favorite play, Super Bowl history? Will Texas Tech avoid the UCF trap? Jump in, and you can own any pro team. What's it going to be? I got us for about another 3 or 4 minutes tonight. And I'm still intrigued by Timbo saying Tech will have to help the Knights, and I don't see that happening. What are they helping with? To get to the total over 160? What are we helping with? I don't know. It's up to you. Are there things we didn't get to tonight for the most part? Not really. Most Texan thing, you guys can answer that on the Facebook page for Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. You can do that. Monday, for Texas Tech fans, we're going to ask a question. Don't tell anybody. Are some Texas Tech fans becoming spoiled? Don't tell anybody. We're going to talk about that. Timbo, we will have to screw up to lose. No, you don't have to screw up to lose. You can play a good game, and they can play a really good game, and that would get you beat. You're only 3.5 point favorites. It's not like you're going to go. I don't think you're going to go in there and boat race them by 20. All right. So when you say we got to screw up to lose, I disagree with that completely. You could play. You could go shoot. 45, 47%. Volume threes off a little bit. Shoot about 32, 31% on that. Have a bunch of long runouts. Get into foul trouble. And they go off and they shoot great and they beat you. That's basketball. That's how you. By the way, that's how you get beat on the road in conferences like the Big 12. If you're a Texas Tech team, you're a volume 3 shooting team. If you have a horrible day shooting threes, you're in trouble because when this team has a crappy day shooting threes, for some reason, Grant McCasland, nobody will tackle him and say, quit shooting the freaking threes. I know you shoot almost 40% on the year, but when you're having a bad day, quit doing it. So if you consider that screwing up, I guess you could consider that screwing up. We could go down that road for you on that. But you can play okay. You can play a good game and get beat 100% in a league like the Big 12. I have no idea what the crowds have been like at UCF. I've been in that arena, I think. I'm pretty sure I've been in that arena if they're still playing in the arena that I was in a million years ago, but I think they are. Most of the people who were there for that game are probably dead now. That's not true. I don't know. I have no idea what kind of home court advantage or crowd or otherwise they're going to have tomorrow. So it's going to be 11 o'clock our time. We might have a little round ball rewind tomorrow. Definitely after Tech Kansas Monday night. Brought to you by Live Life Well Clinic of Lubbock and Dr. John Skelton. So get ready for a little Live Life Well Clinic action Monday night. The doctor is in, and we're going to be talking basketball on that. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Hey, dear Texas Tech baseball, dear Tim Tadlock, it's going to be about 32, 35 degrees tomorrow. Drizzle, freezing rain. I know you got a bunch of alumni in. You want to have this meaningless game. That'd be really cool. Love to see it. For God's sake, do not put any pitchers on the mound tomorrow. Do not put anybody out there. Do not play that game. Don't do it. And if you are a former Red Raider and you are under a contract, I hope your general manager and ownership calls you and says, if you dare play in 35-degree weather, we will cut your ass and never pay you again. Don't play the game. It's not worth it. Don't risk any injury. If anybody can hang around and stay till Sunday when it gets back up into the upper 40s and 50s, cool. I love alumni games. I wish we could have it every year. It doesn't always work out weather-wise. For God's sake, the way this program has been, you can't catch a break anyways. Do not tempt the fate of the baseball gods and have anybody out there tomorrow from arms to hamstrings to you name it. Okay? Don't do it. Just don't. They'll probably play anyways. I don't get that in college baseball, that they'll go out there and they'll play games in 35, upper 30-degree, 40-degree weather. I'm like, stupid. Don't do it. What do I know, though? All right, you guys are the best. Go to our great sponsors and tell them thank you on their social media pages. United Supermarkets, The Reserve, a culinary tavern, South Plains College, and Hat Creek Interiors tonight. We'll be with you tomorrow. We're going to file this away. We're going to put it on the website, and you guys can share it from there. And then on Facebook and Twitter tonight, at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook. We'll have our daily dose of West Texas that I really think you're going to like. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll see you tonight and tomorrow, theraiderland.com. Oh, I got to hit this button twice? Why do I have to hit a button twice? It's 2026. I hit a button twice.